ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णा प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णा चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थेषुभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदायादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजितादधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुकी। Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 10, chapter number 13, verse number 62. So in the previous class we read how Brahma, he came down, he saw everything as he has left. Then every boy and calf, everything turned into Vishnu forms which were being worshipped. So when he saw this, he fell into a state of samadhi, and then when he came out of it, he opened his eyes and he saw just Vrindavan and everything was gone. And he just saw Krishna as if he was searching for the calves with the food on his left palm. So this is what we read. So now he understood what all has happened. So in the previous sloka we read how it was described that Krishna has shown to Brahma the meaning of the Shruti statement that how the absolute reality is one, and it is realized both as qualityless Brahman and as personified Brahman. So, any question on that? Everybody is clear about that?
Now I have a question.
Yes, please.
One may take the Purva Paksha and he says Brahma has already realized because he is a knower of the Vedas and says the absolute truth is only Nirgun Nirakar Brahman, and out of his ecstasy then as wonder he is imposing this Narakriti is also Brahman.
He is what?
So he is imposing that this Nirgun Nirakar Brahman on this Narakriti as a Brahman. So what will be the answer to that?
So what is the proof that he is imposing?
He is out of his wonder, his ecstasy. He forgets himself totally and he says, okay, this is also a Brahman.
Yeah, but why should he go into ecstasy if he is situated on Brahman? Then nothing lower than Brahman can put him into ecstasy. If he is on that platform, then like Sukadeva Goswami says that Parnishteta epi nargunne uttam Śrīmad-Bhāgavata grihita chaita rajarsi akhyānam yadadhitvan. So he was situated in Nargunya, but then he was attracted by Krishna's quality because Uttama bhuta guno hari. Hari is transcendental, Atmaramascha munyo nirvantha purukrame. So unless it is what he is realizing is also transcendental, how can he be into state of samadhi by anything which is just mithya? If he has experience of Brahman and he goes into ecstasy by seeing Krishna, which is mithya, so how is that possible?
Okay, thank you.
And moreover, it was already described that all these forms which he was seeing, that they were all Satya, Ananta, Ekras, Ananda Roop. So we have to, because to make the Purupaksha, we have to find some support from what was described here. So it was said Satya Jnana Ananta Ananda Bhavekras Murtaya Asprishta Bhuri Mahatmya Api Hi Upanishad Drisham. So these forms which he saw, they were not material. Because if they were imposition, then the forms cannot be Satya Jnana Ananta Ananda Rasik Murtaya. Then it will go against this sloka. Any other question? Somebody said? Somebody is trying? Okay. Sadrishtva tvarena nijadhoranато avtirya पृथ्व्यावपुं कणकदण्डमिवाभिपात्य स्पृष्ट्वा चतुर्मुकुटकोटिभिरङ्घ्रियुग्मं नत्वा मृदश्रुजलैरकृताभिषेकम्. So when he opened the eyes and then he saw this scene, then he immediately understood who is Krishna. So now, after seeing this, he immediately got down from his carrier, that is the swan. So Nijadhoran to avatirya tvarena. Very quickly he jumped down from that. And Prithivyam vapum kanak dandam ivabhipatya. And he fell on the ground like a golden stick. because he is golden in color, means he did sastang pranam. Sprishtva chaturmukuta koti bhir angri yugmam, and he touched Krishna's feet with his 4 crowns on his foreheads. How did he do this? That is, you have to stretch your imagination. Because such chatur mukuta koti bhi angri yugmam. So with the tip of his 4 crowns on 4 heads, he touched his feet. Angri yugmam. And natva mudashru jalair akrita abhishekam. And he was in great happiness, so much that tears were coming out from all his 8 eyes. And that's a lot of tear. So therefore he did an abhishek. So he did abhishek of Krishna's feet. So drishtva iti idameva narakriti param brahma sarva moola bhutam iti avgam. So what does it mean, drishtva, or having seen? Because now he saw only Krishna going around with that food in his hand and with a stick. No boys, no calves. So he understood that idameva narakriti param brahma, that this Krishna, idameva, this is narakriti parabrahma. And this is the supreme Brahman in human form. Sarva moola bhutam, and he is the source of everything else. Because he had a personal experience of that. It's not that he heard it from somebody, but he witnessed it. How Krishna is manifested in the Vishnu forms. So tvarena tvaraya nizdhoranata swavahanat prithivyam vapura vipate. So then immediately when he understood that, he got down from his plane and came on the ground. So, and prostrated in front of Krishna. Prithivyam vapura vipate. He threw himself on the ground, on the earth. Nahi deva bhuvam sprishanti iti niyama ullanghnad brahmano asya devatva abhimana apgamo jaya. So generally it is a principle that the devas, they don't touch ground. Even if they come to earth, then they don't stand on earth, they stay a little above the ground. This is their characteristic. So nahi deva bhuvam sprishanti. They don't touch it. That's why they are devas. So now Brahma is transgressing this principle. So means that he is giving up the pride that he is a deva. Means now he is realized who is Krishna and who is he himself. So he is in a very humble mood. And therefore not only that he is touching the ground with his feet, but he is touching the ground with his head. Fell on the ground. So this is Brahma, the highest, the topmost of the devas. And this paying obeisances here in Vrindavan. And with tears in his eyes. So these tears are of happiness because he was able to have this realization, this wonderful experience which no one has had before. So Chaturnam Mukta Nam Agrair Angri Yugmam Sprishtvayati. So he is touching the feet of Krishna with the tip of his 4 crowns. Chaturdik Sthitanam Chaturnam api Mukhanam Balena Krishnabhi Mukhi Karnat. So how he was able to do that? He says that by force he pulled all the four heads to the front. So how he was able to do that? We don't know. He must have some flexible heads. Yeah, that's what he says. Says Chaturnaam api mukhanam balena Krishna abhimukh karnat. Because all the four heads were facing towards Krishna. Otherwise they are in four directions. So Abhishekam अर्थात अंघ्रियुग्मस्य अकरोद इति उत्थाय उत्थाय भूमौ द्रुतपतने अश्रूणाम बाहुल्येन पुरोवेगात् चरणयोर निपातोगे. So he was falling down on the ground, standing up, again falling down on the ground, standing up, falling on the ground. That's what he was doing. And his tears were flowing down. So with those tears he did the Abhishek, Angriyugmas of his feet. And the water which comes from his eyes, because it came out of love, he says, Ashrunam bhakti anubhav rupatvene pavitriyat suprad prayoga. So the water of tears is called here as sujala. Means it was pure water. Otherwise anything which comes from the body is considered as impure. Whether it is sweat or from mouth, nose, any pores of the body is considered as impure. But these tears were tears of ecstasy. So therefore they are called as sujala, means pure tears. So therefore there was nothing wrong by doing Abhishek with that, Krishna's feet.
Babaji, I have a question. Exists another reason for the devas don't touch the ground, or only just because it's a differentiation between the human beings and the devatas?
Yeah, that's the reason. Earth, standing on earth is for earthly people. So उत्थाय कृष्णस्य चिरस्य पादयो पतन आस्ते महित्वं प्राग्दृष्टं स्मृत्वा स्मृत्वा पुनः पुनः. So उत्थाय चिरस्य कृष्णस्य पादयो पतन. So he was standing up and then falling, standing up and falling down. And mahitvam pragdrishtam smritva smritva punah. While remembering again and again the majesty of Krishna which he had just witnessed. So he was in complete awe and reverence of what he had witnessed. So this is just like in Bhagavad Gita, Sanjay also speaks when he ends the description of Bhagavad Gita. It says, Rajan Sansmrita Sansmriste Samvadimadam Adbhutam Keshavarjuniyor Punyam Hrishyami cha muhurmuhu Tatcha Sansmrita Sansmritam Rupam Adbhutam Hare Vismayo me Mahan Rajan. So he is Hrishyami cha puna puna. So he was remembering the dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, and he was feeling very ecstatic. He said, Hrishyami muhurmuhu. Again and again I am feeling happy. And then he was remembering the form of Krishna from 11th chapter. So Tatcha Sansmritya Rupam Atyadbhutam Harehe Vishmayo me Mahan Rajan Hrishyami cha puna puna. So that form which he saw. So Sanjay only saw the universal form Brahma saw something much more than that. He saw so many Vishnus and so many Brahmas and so many universal elements. So you can understand what a great wonder he must have experienced. So therefore it says smritva smritva punah punah. So if you say smritva smritva, that itself signifies that remembering again and again. When repetition is done like that, means doing something repeatedly. And then again he is using the word puna puna again and again. So that means he was in complete wonder. So patannaste iti bahutar pranamante anand jadyo udayat vartman prayogo munestadanim tat sakshatkar anubhavat. So he is using the word patanaste, that he was standing up, falling down, standing up, falling down. And because he stood up and fell down so many times, then he could not get up. He was just lying down. Patanaste. He says while lying down. And while lying down he was remembering what he saw. So Vishwanath Chakravarti says that Patanaste is in present tense. So he says that means that Sukadeva Goswami was experiencing it also at that time. Tadanim tat sakshatkar anubhavat. Sanair utthaya vimrujya lochane mukunda mudviksha vinamra kandharaha. So then gradually he Kritanjali prashravan samahita saveptur gadgad vele telaya. So Sanair utthaya vimrujya lochane mukunda mudviksha vinamra kandhara Kritanjali prashravan samahita saveptur gadgad ya ilataelaya. So then gradually he got up, because the previous sloka said that he fell down for some time. Looks like he did not get up. So then he got up and he wiped his eyes because so much tears were coming. So he took the tissue and wiped his eyes so that he can see clearly. So Mukunda Mudviksha Vinamra Kandhra. So he looked at Mukunda, Krishna, and he was having his body bent down out of humility. Kritanjali, he had his palms folded, Prashrayavan Samahita, and with great humility and concentration of mind. Save patur gadagadaya ailate ilaya. And he was shaking, his body was shaking, and with faltering voice he recited prayers to Krishna. So the prayers are in the 14th chapter. See the last verse of this chapter. Swalochane iti ditvam pani dvayena lochan dvayasya yugpan marjanopapatti. So here in the sloka, he said that he wiped his two eyes. So what happened to the other six? Right? Should have said Vimrijya Lochanani. Should have used Bahuvachan. But he used a dual case. So he says that because he only has two hands, so he is wiping two eyes at a time. And with two he can see. That's good enough. Anyway, others are to the side or the back. So he wiped the front eyes, or he pulled all the eyes to the front to see him. So Panidvayena Lochana Dvayasyeva Yugpat Marjano Papatte. So with two hands he can only wipe two eyes. Gadgadaya Gadgad Bhāgavatam. So his heart was full of emotion, love. Therefore he was faltering in his voice. Vacha ailat at astota. So then with the speech, with his words, he praised, recited the stotra for Krishna. Iti sarartha darshinyam harshinyam bhakta chetsam trayodashatra dasme sangata satam. So this is the end of Sarartha Darshini commentary on 13th chapter, 10th canto. It gives pleasure to the devotees. Iti Śrīmad-Bhāgavata Dasam Skande Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Krita Trayodasa Adhyayasya Sarartha Darshini Tika Samapta. End of commentary on the 13th chapter. So now comes a long chapter with long prayers of Brahma. Very beautiful prayers. It will go on for a long time. So we start that. So any question on 13th chapter? Yeah, we'll ask.
I have a question regarding this word here, Vepatuhu. So this is plural and
Plural?
no?
What?
Okay, I thought this is plural adhokshaja. And I was wondering what is the subject here? What is trembling?
No, it's not a verb.
Ah, okay.
Veptu means shaking, kampan.
Okay.
So Veptu means along with shaking and faltering voice. Gadgadaya.
But just for clear some understanding, I was reading from a text that someone summarized some conclusion of Maharaji, and in one of these conclusions it say that Brahma don't have four heads. So then after I read some article from you that you explain that Brahma can manifest heads or can just keep it as wish. So just for understanding this situation, Brahma manifests the heads in the way that he can putting his eyes to Krishna, and then he was okay.
So what is the topic of this 13th chapter? Malati, what was the tattva of 13th chapter?
About Krishna's opulences, about Brahma realizing who Krishna is.
Okay. Anything else? Narottam.
In this chapter, it's speaking about greatness of Krishna over all the avatars, even over Baladev.
Yes. So this
But is it that Krishna is the supreme God and Krishna is Bhagavan Swayam, and nobody is possible beyond him?
Yes.
Whether it
And which set of boys Brahma saw when he came back?
set of boys he saw was the Yogmaya revealed first the Vishnu forms which Krishna had transformed to the boys, and then the set of boys which Krishna had hidden from everyone.
No, which one did he see? Which one did he see?
the actual one, Babaji Maharaj.
He did not see the other one.
Saw both actually. He was seeing both, and then he got thoroughly confused. That how come both are there and still
Both
then they
means
turned into Vishnu form.
both simultaneously?
Yes, he saw that they were at this place also, like, and where he had put them to sleep in the cave, they were there also. So he was thoroughly confused.
No, I'm
that how
talking.
come-
I'm talking about here when he came back here, and he saw Krishna with cowherd boys and calves. So these were the ones which were original ones, or these were the expansions of Krishna?
expansions of
So what difference would it make if he sees this or that? Whether he sees the original set or he sees the one which Krishna expanded, what difference would it make to Brahma?
difference it would make, because he had from his perspective, he had stolen all these boys and calves and put them to sleep in a cave. So he was thinking
Okay,
that
you don't understand my question. Leave it. Because this is the question you asked me 2 times, and now you're not able to answer it yourself. That's why I'm asking it to you.
I believe that this chapter also says about the relationship of Prema, Krishna and his devotee, when you explain about the young boys and his mothers, and
Yes.
the development of Prema.
Yes, there are many philosophical points which were depicted in this chapter. The very first one was that how Krishna gave mukti by killing Aghasura. That's how the whole thing started. And even before that, how when he said that I cannot even stop the children, they are under the fate, they all entered, he was trying to say stop, and they all entered in. So then he goes inside. So then there was talk of fate, if you remember. So then the whole thing was that he gave liberation to Aghasura, and liberation he gives, but the speciality was that this was seen by everyone, including Brahma. Because Krishna entered into the body of Aghasura. Generally the asuras enter into Krishna's body. Here he entered into his body. But he came out of the body before Krishna came out. Right? Before Krishna comes out from the body of Aghasura, Aghasura comes out. He thought it's a good chance to get out now. And he is inside. And then he was waiting for him to come out. So why he has to wait? He could have gotten inside him only when he was inside. If he is going to get moksha and going to enter into Krishna's body, he could have entered when Krishna was inside Aghasura body, right? What obstructed him? But it was described that he waited for him to come out. Right? What can obstruct the Atma? So he waited, and then Brahma saw this, and then Brahma said that I want to see something more about him. This is quite intriguing. So that's when he steals. And then it is described how Krishna expands and to fulfill the wish of his devotees. Because all these cows also wanted that Krishna drink our milk. So that shows that how everybody in Vrindavan loves Krishna. Not only human beings, but animals, birds, trees, everybody. So Krishna fulfilled their wish. So that's why he comes to the forest to fulfill the wish of the trees, because they cannot come to Vrindavan. They cannot go there. So he himself comes and gives his darshan to them. So it is described that how when Krishna comes, then everything blooms here. When he goes in the evening, everybody is feeling separation. So Vrajvasis feel separation in the morning, and the trees, plants and forest animals, they feel separation at night, because at night he goes back. So they all wait for him until morning. So this is what he reciprocates with everybody. And then of course Krishna showed how he is everything. Even Balaram was not able to understand. This pastime also shows that he is the supreme object of love, more superior than object of one's own self. We love our own self, but he is the self of the self. Krishna menam avehitvam atmanam akhilatmanam sopi atra dehi vabhati svamaya. So this is depicted by his pastime. And he showed that how he is supreme, because even Balaram could not understand. Balaram cannot be influenced by anybody else's maya, but he could not understand Krishna. He did not know that this is what has been done. So that's the importance of this. It shows that it is he only who is Swam Bhagavan. And then Brahma sees how everything becomes all Vishnu. And now he is going to put his experience in words actually. What he realized, he is going to put it in word so that it is recorded for others to understand. It's very difficult to describe one's experience. Most difficult thing, if you eat some sweet and I ask you how is it, what can you describe? But for our benefit, he recites this prayer so that we can also understand who is Krishna.
One more question.
Yes.
That when Krishna became all the cowherd boys, then the love of the Brajvasis, of the gopis, increased. And then you explained that it would be a material concept to think that when again the boys came, that their love decreased, because ultimately the love is for Krishna. He's the center. So or everything is geared towards him. In that regard, the love they had for the boys was not separate from the love they had for him, and so it stayed on that level. So I'm just wondering whether the same concept applies to the gopis who also got married to Krishna's expansions in the form of these boys. So at that time when the boys...
Well, that marriage thing is not mentioned here. That was just a side thing. That's I don't know if that is anywhere described, but some here in Vrindavan, some kathavachakas, they speak like that.
Could we understand it in the same way? As you
Yes, you can understand it the same way. The principle is basically that Brajvasis don't love anything independent of Krishna. And that is the principle of Uttama bhakti, anukullena Krishna anusilnam bhaktir uttama. So that's what is being described here, that their love is for Krishna and things related to Krishna in relationship with Krishna only, not independently. There is no independent love. Even in the material world there is no independent love. Even if you love somebody here in the material world, you love something or some object only when you put yourself into it. And putting yourself means putting you who is part of Krishna. So you cannot love. Even in ignorance you cannot love anything. But because you do it thinking yourself as independent, it becomes the cause of bondage. If you do it in knowledge, then the same thing will liberate. So it's a matter of awareness. Because there is no love. He is the source of love. Otherwise there is no love. It only brings suffering. Anything material, it will turn into Vishad Yoga. Every endeavor independently done will ultimately bring failure, dissatisfaction. Failure means dissatisfaction. Any action which is done independent of Krishna will bring dissatisfaction. And that's what you can see here in the material world. Sukhaya karmani karoti loke na tatsakham anyaduparamamba. So tadeva labte dukkham. So you do work for happiness, you don't get it, it brings suffering, and you continue go on in this cycle of one after another. Sometimes some respite is given, like the story from Mahabharata, that guy is hanging in the well with a snake bottom, tiger at top, is hanging with these branches of a tree which is hanging inside the well, and there is a beehive on top. So once in a while a drop of honey is dripping from it, so he is trying to lick that. So that's the material life. Once in a while you may see the honey drop. Whether you will get it or not, that's different. But you are fraught with all troubles all around. Life is like that. Because it's designed like that. Krishna himself says it is dukhalayam. Even if it is ashashvatam or shashvatam, doesn't matter, it is dukhalayam. So यही संस्पर्श जब होगा दुख योनि एव ते आद्यंत अंत कौन थे न ते शुरम ते बुध. So this is the story. Simple.
Bhavani Maharaj,
Yes.
can I ask one question?
Hmm.
So, I understood this point that when we love anyone or anything there, so because we put ourselves into that, and the problem is that we do it independently, but my question is, this is natural. When we love someone, it is naturally that we are putting ourselves and independently. So how can we practice not to be independent, and what is happening naturally is like, how do we practice this thing that we do not see ourselves independent only when we love something or when we love someone?
Is anything independent? I mean, how do you see? This is what we are seeing. Is anything independent?
If we think deeply, then it is not. But then,
So why don't
the
think
natural
deeply?
way,
Why don't think deeply? What is stopping you? Tell me. Does it cost more money? Or takes more effort? What is stopping you? If you want to remain in ignorance, that is your choice. But if you understand, time and again, it is being described here from the very beginning. Why this creation is being described from second canto onward? All this Swarupa, Patalam he, Tasya Padamulam and all that. Why it is being described? What is the purpose? Atra sarga visargasya sthanam poshanam. Why sarga visarga? All this is described so that you understand that it is all manifestation of Him only. Bhumirapo anulovayu khanmano buddhi revacha ahankaramiti bhinna prakriti me prakriti. It is my prakriti. Right? Krishna says it is my mam maya. It is saying my. So is it very difficult to understand? It's not that deep thinking, but we forget it. Problem is forgetfulness. So we have to keep reminding it, reading it, listening, satsanga. Otherwise you just suffer. There is nothing more than that, than suffering. And nobody likes that. There is a natural drive not to suffer. And still we continue to suffer. So why? It is because of ignorance. Because of this forgetfulness. So, shall we continue? Any more question?
Yes.
Hmm?
Within the discussion, one point was about the description of places of Vaikuntha or the where the Lord Shiva living, that the animals like the lion and deer, they are living together happily without any fear.
Yeah, what is the question? I don't.
My point is that deer is eating the grass. So what is eating the lion?
What is eating lion?
Yeah.
Where? In Vrindavan? In Vrindavan?
Yeah, where they are living together happily.
Yeah, he must be eating the deer. You are worried that he is hungry or?
No, that is their natural food, then how they can ignore?
Yeah, so natural food will be supplied to him by Krishna. He must be getting somehow. Maybe some dear guy is dying out of old age, he eats that. There is no death in Vrindavan. So in Vrindavan, there are kalpa-vrikshas. Right? So the lion wants some meat, it comes from the tree, he eats it. So there is no need to do violence. Yeah, otherwise why kalpa-vriksha are only for human beings? The tiger doesn't want to do any violence to anybody, so he gets the meat from the tree. These days they are making tree meat which grows in the laboratory, right? There is non-violent meat available now. So if they can do it here on earth, why not in Vrindavan? After all, whatever you do as a human being, you just imitate it ultimately. They are growing meat now in the lab. So in Vrindavan, they already had the technology.
But maybe taste different.
Maybe
taste different.
Taste? How do you know?
Of course.
Looks like you have tasted it.
No, if the milk, I'm getting milk direct from cow and someone
this
getting
is coming from the kalpa-vriksha. It's not ordinary. This is not from the lab. It comes from the wish-fulfilling tree. Okay. Good question. I never thought of the meat.
Or the in on the basis of it is the style of literature to signify the
Yes. It's basically, you have to understand the tatparya of these types of questions. You can go on raising, and then we have to, of course, find a solution. So the solution is kalpavriksha. Or they have so much love that they don't need to eat. Love itself is fulfilling them, so they don't eat. So the point basically is that this is Vrindavan is a place of love, and it is a place where there is no violence, there is no anger, greed, lust, all this delusion, these qualities. We saw that. Remember, he said that Druta Krodha, that the anger, greed, they have been dispelled from here. So that's the point. And he said that Nisarga Nirvairudha, right? And those animals which have natural enmity were also without any enmity.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's read the first sloka.
Abhishek, this is Brata Vinodini.
Yes, please.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So Brahma saw all three sets of coward boys?
No, he only saw two. He did not know that there are three sets. These three sets, only the commentators know. When he came back, and he saw the one which Krishna has expanded himself into. And then when he saw them, and then all these turned into Vishnu forms. And then he fell into ecstasy, and then he opened eyes, and then he only saw Krishna. So now he is going to pray to him. Krishna with his food on his hand. That's what he says even in the first verse actually. He describes what he is seeing. Okay, anything else?
I was wondering the Virat Rupa, the form that he shows to Arjuna and all of that, have a name. This form, this majestic form that he shows to Brahma, have a name also?
No. Name is Vishnu form, he already said. So Sri Brahma Vacha. Sri Brahma, he prays. Namidyate bhravapushe tadidambaraya punjavatanse paripichala sanmukhaya vanye sraje kavala vetra vishana venu lakshmasriye mridupate pasupangajaya. So he says Nami idya te. So Nami means I bow down. So you might have heard the verse Namami, Namamishwaram. So what is this Naumi? This is another root. Namami comes from Nam and this comes from Nu. Nu stavane. Nu. So it basically means I praise you, I glorify you, in that sense. And Idya means one who is worthy of praise. It comes from id stutav dhatu, itte. It's atmanepadi dhatu. So Nami Idya, that you are Idya. You are the only person actually who is worth praising, glorifying. So I glorify you. But then he says Namidya te. he uses a fourth case, right? Tubhyam tavyoste mahyam mamyo me. So he should have actually said nomidya tvam or twa. Tvam becomes twa. So instead of tvam, he should write the object of his praise is Krishna, so that should take Dutiya Bhakti. But he is using the fourth case. Nomidya tubhyam, which literally means I praise you for your sake. So this is because there is a principle. There is actually a sutra, Tu mantra kriyantar gamme karmani chaturthi. So here the actual statement is that Tvam praptum aham naumi. That is actually the meaning, that to attain you I praise you. So then that praptum is dropped, then you use the fourth case. So if you say Krishnam drashtum brajam gacchami, that I am going to Braj to see Krishna, then you can say in short that Krishna gacchami. So then drashtum is not dropped, it is understood. So that's the type of construction it is. Sonomidyate abhravapushe, and then rest are all description of Krishna in fourth case. Because when you praise, then the fourth case comes. So first is abhravapushe, that he has a body which is of color of the clouds, rain cloud. People who are suffering in the material world from the heat of this material world, and Krishna's cloud color. Why he has cloud color? So that he can send you the relief from the samsara davanagla. This material world is compared to a forest fire, and forest fire can be extinguished only by the rain. Therefore these days they take water in the helicopters and drop. Still it's difficult to extinguish. But if a heavy rain comes, then it can be extinguished. So that's why Krishna is cloud color. So abhravapushe and tadidambaraya. But your cloth are like lightning. Tadit means lightning. Ambar is dress. Your dress is shining like lightning. So it brings light and relief from the heat. No darkness. That's what Krishna is. And his dress, all his ornaments are from the forest. There is no description of here, although earlier those forms which Brahma saw, they all had earrings and diadem and bracelets and armlets and kaustubha gem and this and that. Krishna doesn't have any of this. See, he has gunjavatansa paripicha lasan mukhaya. He is having avatansa, the earrings made from gunja. It's found here in Vrindavan, a small thing, fruit. And paripicha. Paripicha is this peacock feather on his head. There is no description that he is having some golden helmet or anything like that. Simple cloth tied on his head, put some peacock feather. Many of them, not just one, because freely available. So paripricha lasan mukhaya, and he has a very beautiful shiny face. Lasan, brilliant face. And Vanya Sraje, he has a garland made from forest flowers. Vanya. Kavala Vetra Vishanuvenu. No God will be described like this. No God will be described that he has a food in his hand. Gods don't eat like that. If they have to eat, there will be a nice plate, golden plate, this, that, Achman cup. You have to make this mudra, that mudra, Kachap mudra, right? Venu mudra, Go mudra. Nothing. All this mudra business here, not in Vrindavan. Outside Vrindavan. Mudra is forbidden here. Still you see devotees doing it. Yes.
No mudra for Aganuga Bhakti.
Where is the mudra time here, and who wants your mudra here? So Kavala Vetra Vishana Venu. This is how he Kaval means he has this yogurt rice on his hand. He has a Vetra, he has one stick, not some club or some sword or some golden stuff or staff, nothing. Vetra, Vishan, horn, and Venu, flute, bamboo also, that is also not some golden flute or anything like that. It's also made from bamboo. So Lakshma Shriya, this is his Shri, this is his opulence, this is his beauty, and this is his characteristic. Lakshma here means this is the characteristic. He is recognized by this. Krishna is recognized by this. Kavala Vetra Vishana Venu Lakshma Shriye Mridupade Pashupangajaya. And his feet are very tender, means he is very small boy, he is not grown up man. This big Brahma who come from Satyaloka, so he is praying to this little boy who has no opulence like this ornament, that ornament, nothing like that. He is not even following the Vedic principle. I mean, Vedic principle, you don't touch food with your left hand. What to speak of eating? You don't eat like that. You have to sit down and eat, not walking and eating. That you can see in modern times. One hand mobile, another hand some snack and biting that. Right? Talking and eating. So Krishna was also doing that. So no principle like that. Beyond all this Vedic injunction, this Brahma, who is the knower of the Vedas, who follows all the Vedic rules and regulations, and who will know any transgression, that Brahma is praying to this boy. This is the most amazing thing. This Brahma would not stand within the vicinity of anybody but like this. If he sees like this, he would not come there. But he fell in front of him. When he was falling in the ground, that also Krishna was like this only. And Krishna was wondering what is wrong with this guy. First of all, who is this special fellow with 4 heads? I have never seen anybody like this. The both were wondering. Brahma was wondering, who is this boy? And Krishna was also wondering, who is this guy?
Why is he paying you?
And why is he lying down on the ground? What is wrong with him? So this is the marvelous situation, unheard of, unseen, not found anywhere else. So this is Swam Bhagavan. This is beyond Bhagavan. Bhagavan is there, Krishna is beyond Bhagavan. So Lakshma Shriye Mridupade Pashupangajaya. And who is he? He is son of a Pashupa. He is son of a person who tends animals, cows. So not that he is born some high class Brahmana family or Kshatriya family or anything like that. Pasupangajaya. So he is clearly using the word Pasupa Angajaya, means born from the limbs of Pasupa. Means it's not that he is some avatara. Avatara means who just manifests. So this is to show that he is actually the son of Nanda Maharaj. Actually. not some fake guy. So if you make your identity Aadhaar card, it's real, he is my real father, not that he has adopted him. So that's why we say that when Krishna was born in Mathura, then this Krishna was born also to Yashoda. Otherwise this word Pasupangajaya is coming from the mouth of Brahma, the highest Vedic authority, it will lose its value. If Krishna was not born to Yashoda and was only born to Devaki, and the girl was born to Yashoda, then what will be the meaning of Pasupangajaya? It will be wrong. Because then he should have said that, Devaki Angajaya or Vasudeva Angajaya or whatever, born to them. But he says here Pasupangajaya. It's very important word which he uses here.
Babaji, I have a question. This temple of Krishna Janmastan have two Krishnas everywhere. Is because of that?
I don't know. So we'll stop here and read the commentary tomorrow.
May I ask one question?
Yes.
Is there any particular reason why Brahma uses the pronoun Tvam and not Bhavan while speaking to Krishna?
Any reason for what?
Brahma uses the pronoun Tvam and not Bhavan. For instance, in previous chapters when Vasudeva was dressing Krishna, he was using Bhavan, and that's why I wanted to know whether it reflects some difference in attitude towards Krishna.
Yeah, this also signifies intimacy. Bhavan is more formal, and this is more informal.
On this point, isn't to biham used always when we give obeisance, when we address any worshipable? So does it mean that always when we address some worshipable that there's the sense of intimacy? Or
Yeah, it depends, but it's not necessary. You can also use Bhavan.